Hi, everyone. This is Kim Ludwig again, and we are back again to talk about the Work Opportunity Tax Credit, or WOTC, or WOTC, as it's referred within VR. And the WOTC is one of 3 federal tax incentives that are available to businesses or employers who employ people with disabilities as employees. So what we're going to do, I'm going to share my screen, and that's going to focus mainly on the WOTC brochure that's available on FACES, but is also available through the South Dakota Department of Labor and Regulation. So you can refer to that as I am discussing the WOTC. So give me a moment here to share my screen. And okay, again, the WOTC is a federal income tax credit, encouraging employers or businesses to hire individuals within certain targeted groups who encounter higher rates of unemployment due to a variety of employment barriers. Altogether, there are 15 target groups that are eligible for the WOTC, and individuals receiving vocational rehabilitation or VR services are one of those targeted groups. Furthermore, to qualify under the VR target group, individuals must currently be receiving or have received services within the 2 years from their start date of employment. Also, if an individual has already began working for an employer, he or she will not be eligible for the credit. Also, there are some employees who may not be eligible for the credit. So for example, if they're a relative or a dependent to their employer, was even a former employee of their current employer, and who are self-employed, those circumstances would mean that they're not eligible to receive the WOTC credit, even though they might be eligible under the target group qualification. The tax credit is based on the number of hours the employee works and the amount of wages the employee receives within their first year of employment. The South Dakota Department of Labor and Regulation oversees the program in South Dakota, in which Tanya Charlton is the WOTC coordinator. She can be contacted if individuals and/or employers have questions about it. So as you can see on the screen, it's a brochure again, and her contact information is available on here. It is available right here as I have highlighted. So again, Tanya Charlton is the WOTC coordinator, and she is based out of the Aberdeen location. So the contact information includes her phone number and email address. At the time of developing the first individual plan for employment, or IPE, or as clients are exploring potential work experience opportunities and/or seeking permanent employment, it is highly recommended for you as a VR counselor to discuss the WOTC with your client, and if he or she makes an informed choice to pursue it, the VR counselor will complete the Department of Labor WOTC referral letter that is located in the document manager and the letter browse section of FACES. The letter is then given to the individual, or if the individual prefers for the provider to have that letter, that can take place as well. The letter will then be taken to the local Department of Labor office by making an appointment, in which they will turn in the referral letter, and if determined eligible, will receive documents that are called conditional certification paperwork. Upon the completion of client obtaining the conditional certification paperwork from Department of Labor. And when they're discussing it with employers, or whether that be a potential employer or when they've accepted a job offer, information can then be shared with their employer or potential employer by indicating that he or she is eligible for the work opportunity tax credit that is available through the South Dakota Department of Labor. They don't have to disclose the reason why they're eligible for the WOTC, because they already have the paperwork in place indicating that they're eligible. More so, the paperwork consists of an ETA 9062 and IRS 8850 forms. I realize that's technical, but that's what the documents are called, in which the employers will need to complete their required fields and mail in the paperwork to Tanya Tarleton, the WOTC coordinator that is in Aberdeen. And as you can see highlighted on the screen, that is where employers are going to mail in the paperwork to Tanya. So again, the completed forms must be mailed in to Department of Labor within 28 calendar days after the employee's start date of employment. Again, VR's referral process and the eligibility determination by Department of Labor is highly recommended to have in place before individuals begin working, even before, whether it be for a work experience or if job seekers are pursuing permanent employment. Please keep in mind that Department of Labor only determines and verifies that individuals qualify or are eligible for the WOTC based on the specified target groups. Department of Labor doesn't guarantee that employers will receive the credit for approved individuals. Employers give their certification, the paperwork that they receive from Department of Labor or their employee, actually, that are given to them by Department of Labor, excuse me, in which they're going to give that paperwork to their tax consultant at the end of the year when they're filing the taxes. Tax consultants will then gather the information they need to determine the amount of credit the employer will receive. Again, as I mentioned, VR clients that participate in VR's work experience program, such as the Project Skills Program and the Employment Skills Program, are also able to receive qualification or eligibility for the WOTC, as employers can receive it based on the amount of hours they have worked, even if they're not paying their wages. However, keep in mind, individuals must work at least a minimum of 120 hours for employers to receive the credit. So this simply states, so let's say you have a client that is only going to complete 50 hours of a work experience. The amount of hours will not meet the minimum qualification of 120 hours. So that is just an example of that. The private sector businesses are traditionally the only ones that can receive the WOTC credit. However, qualified tax exempt organizations described in kind of more technical, so just bear with me as I explain this. The IRC section 501C and is exempt from taxation under IRC section 501A. So this is simply referring to section 501C companies or nonprofits, and they may claim the credit for qualified veterans, in which it's another one of the target groups that are eligible for the work opportunity tax credit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And this brochure is actually in Spaces. So I'm going to show you where it's at. So here we are at the home screen of Spaces, and the brochure is actually located under the new counselor training. And if you, okay, so here we are at the home screen of Spaces, and the brochure can be located under the new counselor training section. So clicking on that, the brochure is right here. If you click that, a little delay, but anyway, that is where the brochure is available. However, the brochure is also available on the Department of Labor's website, and I am actually going to share my screen again here to walk you through. So if you're ever interested or need to direct individuals or even employers to locate more information about the WOTC credit, you can go to the Department of Labor website, which is dlr.sd.gov. And then when you get to the home screen, you're going to go over to Learn About Programs, and then you're going to scroll down to the Work Opportunity Tax Credit. And here is the page on that. So the brochure is also available, and there is also a guide for employers too in regard to the WOTC. So with that, that concludes the session on the Work Opportunity Tax Credit. If at any time you have questions about the WOTC, either feel free to reach out to me to assist you. And if I'm not able to assist you, we can always reach out to Tanya Charlton too, so for further guidance. Thanks.